This video is focused on Lola cars and this incredible book I just got. So that's the inspiration by Evro Publishing, and it's a massive volume. It is, if you can see here, it's like 1.5 inches thick, and it has 576 pages, which is astronomical. It weighs a ton. Not a light read in bed, that's for sure. It's more of a reference guide, but it covers every single race of Lola cars. And that's the T70, the Can-Am car, the Coupe, and all the other Can-Am cars they came out with. Now, to tie that into my slot cars plus is I have the slot cars that are represented in this book. So hopefully you'll find this of some interest. And what's interesting of those slot cars I have here, they're all different manufacturers. Everybody made a Lola, but this is pretty much all I could ever find of Lola cars. And now we're not getting into their single seaters. This is all sports car, Can-Am, and what have you. But anyways, beautiful volume. Evro Publishing, they're the motor racing publishing company. They just specialize in that. And because it's a niche market, it doesn't sell a whole lot. I would take it. The prices are astronomical. This book, they're asking over $150 for it, which no way I was going to pay that. So I have my limits, and I always like a good deal. I'm not a fan of paying full price, but the pricing of books, racing books, is astronomically high. Now, we do have a local, I'm in Niagara Falls, there is a local international book company it's a warehouse that sells discount books. And that's where I found this. They had this online selling for $60. So I think even with some coupons and whatever, I got it for $50. I did get another book on Max Verstappen, which made the total $60. So an incredible deal for the size of the book. And that's what I enjoy. So anyways, we'll get started. I want to go through, I've tagged the parts where there is a slot car. And the first car is the Lola GT. And this is the inspiration for the Ford GT40. And I've done a video on the Ford GT40, and I start that video with the Lola GT, which is the inspiration. And then I did a follow-up video because I forgot to do a track test, of which I do in that video. So anyway, so that one's well covered, and that's these two cars here. And these are by Monogram. And this one is your regular brass chassis Monogram from back in the 60s when this car came out. So they came out, very quickly from the real car being produced. And then this one was a little later, but it's got a drop arm, but a super hot motor. Man, this one's hard. I'm glad in my racetrack I have a voltage regulator so I can turn this one down, get it around the track. But again, all that's represented well here. With a number of pictures. Let me see if I've, yeah, there's a number of images here. Now, in my other review, I did show this book, Lola GT. And amazingly, all of the well-documented and photos in this one are not duplicated in this book. They really did great research on having unique photos for each of the cars that they review. So if I go past this one, let's take a look. Here is the T70, the Can-Am car that John Surtees won the championship, Can-Am championship in 1966. And this is a beautiful Monogram car, great representation of that. And you can see in this photo, super accurate, very, very nice. That's why I love the researching the books and just seeing how true, and find some history and background on these cars too. And this is a wealth of that information. So not a bad running car. It does have a little bit of a magnet in it. I find the gear is very large, and it almost, finding tires that are wide enough so that that gear isn't bottoming out is a challenge. But it's effective and it works well. What's great about this book, it takes that particular car and it goes through every race it ever ran in. So it's got a complete history. All the variations of that car, because it was a customer car. Like John Surtees, he had his own team, but it was Lola who provided the car. And there was many others that bought from Lola to run those cars as well, which is all through this book, which is phenomenal. And it has pictures of some of the competition, talks about some of the competition, and how successful the Lola ultimately was. Now, if I go through here to our next one, oh, here's more of the same, slightly different decaling and such on it. There's John Surtees. So again, loads of great images and such. If I keep going here, I want to get to the next car. Missing it here. Here we go. This one always confused me. This is the first, in this book is the first time I've seen this actual car, because here I have a Strombecker, and I always thought it was a McLaren. But anytime I saw any literature, vintage literature, this came out in the 60s as well, it always referred to it to a Lola. And I went, oh, it's a McLaren. It's orange and it has that shape. But here we go. Here is that car. And you can really see the distinctive back end with these huge flaps. It's all really, you start to see how well that even Strombecker back in the 60s, how well they molded and the accuracy they done. So even this back end, if I look at the photo here, really good match, works really, really well. So excellent car. So you can see here, just to show you, I mean, here's a monogram of a McLaren. So you can see where the confusion would be. A lot of similarities. The orange, yellow-orange, a little different between the two. But this was close enough that I always thought it was a McLaren. Anyway, so there we go. We move on. Again, there's lots on the T70, and both the Can-Am car and the Coupe, which was more endurance racing, 24 hours Le Mans and such. Here is another version. I haven't found this one exactly in there. It's not decaled or anything. It's kind of a restoration job I need to work on. But this is an old Revell version of the car. Runs really quite well. So there's yet another make. When we get going in here more, here we go. Here's this classic. This to me is the Lola T70. And this is when Mark Donohue and Roger Penske, the team owner, got this car, and they have a great history of making cars better from the manufacturer, and this was no exception. And here is a Fly car, and they did all the variations of this one. They did a lot of different ones. You know, number 6 and number 9 were the big ones. This one's number 9, as you can see, but it's got all that nice little gold pinstriping on this dark blue car. And I always love Fly because of the full cockpit and the details, just phenomenal. Not a particularly fast runner, this particular one, but you know, with a bit of tuning and such, maybe even a motor replacement, it could do extremely well. But again, even new manufacturers, I think Thunderslot, I can't remember who else, are starting to produce these as well in all the different marquee colorings and such. And as you can see, there is, yeah, a good model to make for a manufacturer, because they can keep reproducing this in various livery, because there are so many. Again, customer car. Lola never really ran any of these cars as their own team. They always sold them to customers. And there is tons and tons of variations. So they can go on for a long time of all these different paint schemes and such. Excellent. Let's see, we go to the next one. This is always a favorite of mine. I'll take a look here. I got 2 of them here. We have this one here, the T222. Very significant with the flaring back fender here. And this is one that Carrera made. Very nice style to it. And again, beautiful detail. Huge back wing, huge rear tires. Again, with these Carreras, they always come 2 big bar magnets. Always take at least one out, if not both of them, and replace with a smaller one, because otherwise they're so glued to the track, you can just run full out non-stop. And I prefer to have a little bit of driving skill when I'm running slot cars, which is kind of the challenge of them. But anyways, very, very nice. They did make a couple different livery ones on this, but in this book I managed to find the one that I have. And the accuracy of it is excellent. The other one here is this is a slot car, and again, this one is of the Lola T260. Big front wing came off, and that's okay. I always take it off when I'm running it anyways, because this is way too vulnerable. Those would snap off in an instant, the first accident. And this is Jackie Stewart in this Lola, and it's well depicted in this book. Here's some great shots of it here. And again, beautifully detailed. The only problem with these is they're not really 1/32nd scale. They're 1/28 scale. But what's unique about them is super detailed. You take the bodywork off and the chassis underneath is completely detailed, engine detail, everything is excellent. And it has a working transmission where you can see the wheels are moving opposite to each other. So you got posi traction going on, which is an advantage? I don't think so. And there is a history of these that transmission burns out because the gears get out of mesh and strip themselves. So I'm always careful with it, but there is ways you can keep that in one piece as well. Let's see, let me just see if there's any more. Yeah, here's some variations from the Carrera car that I just showed you. Lots of great images here. So a fabulous book, fabulous history, incredible. It would be nice if more manufacturers made Lola cars, because they do have a huge range, and there's a lot of wonderful cars here. Look at all the different color schemes here that have never been produced of that Can-Am car. So, oh, here we go. Here's the Jackie Stewart in the Vanquish MG car that I just showed. There's that huge wing hanging off the front there. Anything to try and be competitive. At the time, the dominance was the McLarens. And this Lola was one of the few that actually gave them some competition and gave them some challenge. And a lot of that was the skill of Jackie Stewart getting that car probably in places that the car didn't deserve to be in. Anyway, here we go. I'll wrap that up. Hopefully that was some interest of you. If you do get into racing literature, I've got a massive library, if you've seen in some of my videos previous here. Again, this has every single race of all those cars, and super detailed and accurate in its history. So there we go. We'll wrap this one up.